I had to wait until they separated.
Velvet Assassin is loosely based on the story of Violet Sabo, a World War II Allied secret agent. While not exactly conveyed too well in the game, her story is rather fascinating. She's a badass young woman just barely in her 20s who organized several resistance groups and killed off a bunch of Nazis. Here is her story. Velvet Assassin has kind of gotten some undeserved flack for being a little too video gamey. You sneak around throughout the shadows and stab German soldiers in the back. However, this game has a few old school tendencies for the genre. There are areas designated as dark and areas designated as light. You sneak around in a crouch, and as long as you're in a designated dark area, a guard can be right in front of you about 4 feet or so, and they just will not see you. Shockingly, this is not very realistic, and also due to this gameplay mechanic, you could say that the Germans must have really had a bad lighting problem. Really though, who gives a crap, because this is a damn video game, so just suspend your beliefs, and it's not like your typical regenerating health is any more realistic. It fits the purpose, and really, how the hell else would you make a video game like this? Alright, there are guns in this stealth action video game, but you don't typically get to go guns a-blazing. There was one level early on where I managed to save a fully loaded gun from the last level while stumbling across another fully loaded gun mid-level and managed to lazily shoot guards in the head from the distance within the shadows the entire time, which, yes, that was pretty damn cool, but it was more of an exception rather than the standard. Velvet Assassin is not about your arsenal. It's about sneaking around and killing enemies from behind with your knife as you study their patterns as they wander around the room. There is still some variety to this game, which is nice. You usually end up getting a gun with some ammo. You rarely ever absolutely have to use it, except for a few key points. But if there's a bunch of enemies all right in a row in front of you and you don't want to have to deal with memorizing all of their patterns, you can just pick a few off. Back to silently killing, often you can either just wait in the shadows and memorize their path and then just slip out and stab them, or you can set the dead body of another guard in the middle of a hallway as a distraction and then whistle the other guard over and take them out while they panic over their dear dead friend. Most areas have a few different subtle approaches. Sometimes you can slink by without having to kill anyone as well, although really not quite as often as in other games like this. Velvet Assassin still isn't that great though. Midway through, the game just kind of gets tedious. There are several rooms in a row packed with guards that can be difficult to get through. While you might have the first 2 areas memorized with ease, the third could end up being extremely hard, requiring some trial and error based gameplay. So yeah, you end up dying a lot and having to replay the first 2 areas over and over. It just gets redundant, which leads to impatience and then perhaps even making stupid mistakes because going through the same motions over and over is just tiring and loses its fun. I wouldn't have minded just a few more redistributed checkpoints. The game isn't so hard that it can't be beaten with some practice, but it just feels kind of lame sometimes having to repeat the same crap over and over when you just want to see the game through once and be done. This is probably one of the slowest stealth games, requiring a lot of watching before making any movement, but I really didn't mind it. Your mileage may vary. The lead chick Violet here kicked a lot of ass. There was much potential for a better presentation that the developers didn't take advantage of, leading me to not care so much for the story as it was being told in the game, but even that hardly matters. While I really wanted to enjoy this game at an immense level, a few frustrating segments really did reduce the overall enjoyment for me. If you can find this game at a low price and enjoy this kind of action though, it's worth checking out. Velvet Assassin for the Xbox 360 receives a 7 out of 10.